Good morning, ladies, gents. Piotr here with another educational video for Light Forex Global YouTube channel, and we are going to discuss about head and shoulders, but not the standard way, probably. So that's what we are going to mention, but we are going to have a discussion about the failures and what next with this head and shoulder or inverted head and shoulder. So let me make the whiteboard like this. All right, and let's have a look at the very beginning and the standard, right? Some kind of the head and shoulders where the neckline break the target like this, right? And the stop above and short on neckline break, right? That's what you can find in inside the many different books, right? Actually, we had webinars when we were discussing possible supply and demand zones, right? And we know a little bit better approach to try to trade standard head and shoulders or standard inverted head and shoulders, where instead of trading the neckline break, right, with this type of the setup, we're trying to be a little bit faster, right? So meaning that there is a bigger possibility we are going to fail, right? But we have plenty of time when the market is testing the neckline. We have plenty of time to watch carefully, right? If the market is about to break or not to break. So of course, it is much more aggressive approach, but when done properly, the payout is much bigger. And at some point, I would say if everything is going okay, right? So everyone is selling then around the neckline break, right? But we are already in the market with some profit in place, so we can even try to take the partial profit. So that's what we discussed some time ago when we were doing the webinar in relation to the supply and demand, right? But of course, it's going to be very similar when it comes to the inverted head and shoulders, right? Okay, so that's the things we already know, and of course with the possible supply demand trying to be a little bit more aggressive, so we are already buying around the levels of the left shoulder, right? So that's how it works. But very often we have failures when it comes to the head and shoulder, right? I'm going to show you two the most known, all right? It's going to be your homework to check the rest. The most known are on euro dollar. That was something at some point very close to the head and shoulder formation. It didn't work out, as well as this big one here, right? Didn't work out as well, okay? And that's what we are going to discuss today, how we can try to spot if there are any early signals, right? Suggesting that this particular head and shoulder may not work the way it should. Okay, so let's get back to the whiteboard. There you go. So guys, when you have a head and shoulder on the higher time frame, right? Let's say that's the 1 hour chart. All right, that's the 1 hour chart. Let's say that's the 1 hour chart. Okay. Then that's what I usually do when I'm monitoring the right shoulder development, right? I'm switching to the smaller time frame. And if everything is as it's supposed to be, right? Of course, I'm trying to trade the head and shoulder, right? My way, all right? So trying to be as close as possible, as fast as possible, as aggressive as I can be, all right? But then I'm switching to the smaller time frame, and if there is any signs let's make it 5-minute chart. Okay. And if on that 5-minute chart at some point I have some kind of the price action, right? Where I can start to draw the megaphone, all right? Inside, we are talking that we see formation of the head and shoulders, right? We are talking about the right shoulder is about to form, right? I'm switching to the lower time frame, and if I have some kind of the bumps on the roads, when we have some upside, downside, and when on the 5-minute chart, if there is a possibility that I can draw the megaphone, that's the very early sign that this time there is a big chance this head and shoulders is not going to work, right? It's not going to work. Okay? There are two ways to try to counter that trade, all right? Meaning that if I'm short because of the possible head and shoulders and I see the megaphone, of course I'm getting out, I'm closing my position, all right? And there are two possible ways to trade that head and shoulders, right? Either you are looking for some kind of the stop hunt with very quick reversal, right? That could be your setup to try to be as early as you can and counter that head and shoulder, right? That's the first thing first. Or the second one, when the market is breaking that head and shoulder, right? Moving higher and starting to pulling back, right? Usually in that case, you are going to find the description that that's your buying point on that pullback, right? Well, I do prefer lower levels. I do prefer to see retest of the shoulders, all right? I do prefer to see retest of the shoulders. Of course, it's not going to happen every time, this type of the deeper pullback, but usually it's going to be 1-to-1, and that's gonna be my entry, right? At the zone, at the levels, what was supposed to be the shoulders of the head and shoulder. All right, so if we are going to see the breakout instead, right, then the pullback towards the shoulders is going to be my entry. What's the target? Well, we are counting the same way right? We are taking this one, and once the head is broken, we are adding, and that's the final target. All right. Of course, if we are going to go straight and hit the target, I'm not gonna buy the pullback. I'm not gonna buy the pullback. And of course, very similar situation when it comes to the inverted head and shoulder, right? So again, if that's the 1 hour chart, I'm trying to be long here, but then switching to the smaller time frame. And if the smaller time frame, I see some kind of the unusual behavior, some kind of the megaphone, I'm closing my long, and I might be very aggressive to switch to the short already based on that megaphone formation, right? Or I'm going to wait for the breakdown, right? I'm going to know where my target is, right? Retest, continuation, boom. Guys, you don't have to believe me. Do your homework, make as many tests as you can, and then let's discuss it, okay? It was my pleasure to be with you here with this educational video. See you around, guys. Take care and goodbye.